This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by my good friend Denzel Bentley. Denzel, it's good to see you. How is everything?
All good, man. All good. Thank you, man. How are you?
I'm very well, better for being joined by yourself. I'm also absolutely buzzing for this weekend. Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium. Gutted I can't be there. I'll be sat watching it from home, but a monumental occasion. Just how excited are you for this weekend for it?
Yeah, man. It's a big weekend, man. It's a big weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I mean, every fight on that card is exciting, and you don't usually get that. So it's a big one, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And we'll dive straight into things. We've seen a bit of a change in the fight in your division at the middleweight division. Josh Kelly was meant to take on Liam Smith, but due to a virus, Liam Smith is now out of the fight. A lot of names were thrown in the hat. I'm pretty sure I saw your name get thrown in by people. Were you ever in talks with to get that fight with Josh Kelly?
No, we weren't in talks, but obviously, I was asked. But yeah, my medicals are all booked in for this week, so I wouldn't have been able to get ready for a fight, shift away, and do my medicals all in the same week. That's just too much stress going around. So I just thought, yeah, you know what, I'll give it a pass.
That's fair enough. Ishmael Davis, the replacement opponent, a very similar scenario to the way that you were assessing the fight between Liam Smith and Josh Kelly. Two fighters from super welterweight coming up to middleweight. Do you believe the weight could play any difference for someone like Ishmael Davis?
Um, Not really, because like I said, they're both the same weight. They probably spar at these kind of weights or heavier. They'll be good to carry, the extra bit of weight around, especially where neither of them are fighting anyone that's too big for them. So I think it's all right the weight up here, but
And how do you feel that fight plays out now? Do you feel there's potential for it to be a better fight potentially than what Liam Smith versus Josh Kelly was going to be?
I don't know. It'll be different, innit? I mean, with it's a different outlook on it. Leah Smith was like, is he done or is he not? Do you know what I mean? Like, can Kelly get him? Can Kelly take over and become the new school of whatever it is, or can Liam Smith hold his ground and still have a place in the sport kind of thing? But now you just got Ishmael Davis, who's a hungry fighter, took this last minute and wants to prove a point in it. So, and Josh Kelly is who he is, so he's just there to he's taking more risk in this fight. But at the end of the day, um, it's helped him still be on this card, and it's a big card. I don't think anyone would have wanted to be off this card because their opponent pulled out. So yeah, Ishmael Davis has come to save the show for him.
For Josh Kelly, when you look at it in his perspective, how does he have to adapt his mindset? Because in his mind, it's like, right, a massive fight. I'm taking on a former world champion. And then it goes from taking on a former world champion, Liam Smith, to Ishmael Davis, who in the middle of last week had signed to fight Junaid Boston for the English title at super welterweight. Does that have to change his perspective on the fight, or do you feel that
No,
factor?
it's still the same thing. Ishmael Davis is a dangerous fighter. He's a good fighter. He's got a good win in his record under in Trey Williamson. I'm sure that's I'm sure that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that's Josh Kelly's best win too.
It's definitely up there, yeah. I
Yeah,
think it's the one mutual opponent that they've got.
yeah, exactly. So they both their last fights were against the same guy essentially. So it's a good fight. I get what you're saying, like in the outlook of things that Liam Smith is one more champion. I'm here to take his spot and all that stuff. But it's still a dangerous fight. You got a competitive fight, a 50-50 fight. Two guys trying to be world champions or trying to be at the top of the division or top of the sport coming through. So if anything, he's got to be even more focused because Ishmael Davis wouldn't have took this if he wasn't half ready, in
For
my
Ishmael,
opinion.
for Ishmael Davis, it leaves him in quite an interesting spot if he is to come away with the victory because he's just signed and agreed to fight Junaid Boston in the early stages of next year. I'm presuming he's not fighting on October 26th anymore. But if he is to beat Josh Kelly, surely that springs him way above English level and potentially even above the British level, where it does put him as a fringe world level contender at that point.
Yeah, most definitely, the world is oyster after this, man. If he can go out there and get the win, he's got so many options, so many options. I mean, like you said, he could. I don't think he hasn't won the British before, obviously not because he's going to fight for the English. So he could probably fight for the British and move forward, or fight for the European. Just come back at 154, and there'll be some good fights there for him. Like you said, fringe world level. He's with Matchroom, so they can probably move him and get him out in the States against guys that have fought for a world title in the past or some big fight. So if he wins this, he's in a great position, man. And the world's his oyster, and he would just have unlimited options of what he can do and who he can fight. So yeah, man.
And then we saw there was the big event last week. I'm not fully sure what was going on, but I saw you were there doing some clay. Was it clay pigeon shooting you were doing last week, or something like
Oh
that?
yeah. Yeah, it's like a media day for Queensbury fighters to kind of so I keep yawning. To kind of like speak about this weekend and stuff, and
Okay.
obviously what's next for us. So yeah, it was just a little media day kind of event. It wasn't nothing massive, but it looked good. Well, it was, the clay pigeon shooting was fun. That was good.
How did you find it? How did you get on?
I done all right for my first time. I think I won one game and lost the other game, but hey, I got a dub, so I'm all right,
That's
man.
fine, can't complain. I saw an interview from Frank Warren recently of him talking about. Someone was asking about Chris Eubank Jr. I know you don't. I know you're not fussed about him, but I just want to get your thoughts because it shows how highly Frank backs you here. Frank said he'd rather see Chris Eubank Jr. take on yourself or someone along your level rather than the man that he's facing in Riyadh. When you see your promoter backing you so highly like this, especially obviously coming in, your most recent performance, a destructive knockout of the year contender. Um, does that give you the hope? Obviously, we know you want to push on now. Does that give you the hope that big fights are on your doorstep now?
Yeah, most definitely. If he putting my name in the hat with these guys like Chris Schumann Jr. and all these guys, it means he believes in me. You know, it means he believes in me. So he's willing to put me into to these kind of fights. To say he's willing to put me in with someone like Eubank is a compliment in itself. You know what I mean? Like we spoke about, Eubank ain't really trying to fight anyone like that because let's be honest, what's a better fight? You know, me or someone else? You know, around my level domestically, or the guy he's fighting next. Sorry, I forgot his name. The Polish guy he's fighting next.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not really an attractive fight. He's talking about anyway. Look, I'm just happy Frank's put money in Manhattan. You know, that means there could be potentially some, big fight kind of corner.
Will we see you back in the ring before Christmas, do you reckon?
I need one more this year. I mean, I boxed in August. To not box for the rest of this year will be disappointing. I'm already in the gym. I'm back training anyway, so I'm hoping, something can come along by the end of this year. And I think there are a few shows at the end of this year that I can probably get on.
What type of fight do you want next? Are you looking for, as we've seen, obviously, the comeback trail continue now, obviously, Danny Dignam, then Derek Osaze. Do you want a fight that I guess you could say is that level above Derek Osaze now?
Yeah, most definitely, man. That's the point. That's the whole aim moving forward. I mean, look, I keep saying I'm number two at WBO, so there could be a world title eliminator, soon. So that's what I'll be hoping for by the end of this year. If I can get a world title eliminator by the end of this year, then I'll be happy. So yeah.
Well, I may as well dive straight into the business end now. Obviously, I want to get your predictions, not just for the main event, not just for Tyler Denny versus Hamza Shearers, which I'm sure you've been asked about in pretty much every interview you've done.
Mm.
I want to go through the whole card. I want it from top to bottom. So we'll start off. We'll start off at the bottom of the card. We'll start off with the opener of the night. Mark Chamberlain versus Josh Padley. One of the fights that a lot of people are finding easier to call. But how do you see
Yeah.
it going?
I'll be honest, I don't really know anything about Josh Padley, to be honest. I haven't really looked into anything because I don't think I've needed to, but I'm guessing they picked him because they feel like Chamberlain can, do a job on him. Mark Chamberlain's a good fighter. I've seen him at the gym sparring and obviously seen him fight and stuff, and he's a good fighter. So I think I'm going to back Chamberlain just for the simple fact that I've seen him and I know what he can do. I haven't seen anything of Josh Padley at all.
And then we go to Joshua Buatsi versus Willie Hutchinson. My mind blank for a split second there. How do you see that one going? That's a fight that has got the fans talking. We know that there's a bit of tension, a bit of bad blood between them as well.
Listen, Willie Hutchinson's a good fighter, man. Very good fighter. And he showed that in his last fight against Craig Richards. And yeah, it's good to see him come back from that loss he took against Lennox Lewis. And, Lennox Lewis, wow, Lennox Clark. I'm even very mad. Lennox Clark. And then, I said that and I was like, what the hell did I just say? Yeah, against Lennox Clark and come back and be in his position and fight for interim title. So that's crazy. That's good to see. But Josh is a class fighter, man. You know what I mean? He's a very good fighter. An Olympic medalist. You know, took his time coming through and just made sure everything was right, done things on his timing, and now he's in a good fight. Willie Edson shocked everyone by beating Craig Richards just a few months ago, and no one expected that, not even me. So you can't really write him off. You can't write off Willie Hutchinson because you never know what's going to turn up. I think he would give Josh trouble in the first couple of rounds, then I think Josh will take over. And me and Josh were quite close. The only person that I have and I will go against Josh with was Dan Aziz. But Dan Aziz is, what I'm saying, he's like a brother to me, and so is Josh. But I'm close with Dan. So I'm backing Josh in this aspect. But Willie's definitely a good fighter, and it's one of the fights I'm looking forward to on this card the most.
Would you say this is the toughest test for both of them at this stage of their career?
It's a good question.
Especially, would you say it's a lot harder? I guess a different way to look at it. Would you say it's a lot harder to determine whether it's that answer, especially when you look at Josh
No, not really.
resume?
Not really. Because when we was, because the fight of Dan Aziz was a big test for Josh. It was a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Apart from the fact that they'd sparred loads of times and they kind of knew each other. Going into that fight, that wasn't a fight that was all one way. Some people felt like Dan could do it. I think people are looking at Willie Hutchinson's last performance against Craig Richards, and I'm thinking, oh my days, this guy's amazing. And so they should, because no one expected that. But if he hadn't had beat Craig Richards and he was going into this fight, would we think the same thing? Do you know what I mean? So it's a tough test. It's a good fight. It's Willie Hutchinson's toughest test. I'd say that for a fact. I'm not sure if it's Buatsi's toughest test, but it still doesn't mean that Hutchinson hasn't got a chance to win. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's still got a chance, but I don't. He fought Craig Richards. He's fought Dan Aziz. I think he's had some tough tests. He's had some, he's had to graft. If he wins that.
You mentioned in the previous statement that you're very close with both of them, obviously, especially Dan Aziz. Bit just steering away quickly, but obviously we got the announcement yesterday that he'll be back on October 19th at the Copper Box against Lewis Edmondson. I don't think it's a fight that a lot of people expected to see get announced. It seems, especially with the way both careers are going, but it does make for a great fight, doesn't it?
100% it makes for a great fight, and they both kind of need it. Louis Edmondson's been really inactive. He's been chasing Ben Whittaker, and he can't seem to get that fight. What's he gonna do? Just sit down and keep chasing Ben Whittaker? I'm saying he can't. He's gonna have to, get up at some point and take a fight with Dan Aziz. And Louis Edmondson's cool. I'm saying I've been around Louis and sparred him before and stuff. He's a cool guy. Got a lot of mutuals and stuff. And he needed to take this fight, otherwise he's going to be sitting inactive. And I think they got some history in the amateurs and stuff. Dan Aziz is also in a position where he needs to get back to the position that he wants to be in. So this is the fight he needs to obviously take and win. If he beats Edmondson, then he's right back in conversation a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? Because after that performance, coming away with a draw, very underwhelming. It was like, okay, what the hell's going on here? Like, it's hard to just catapult him into another big fight, and try and, push him for that big fight. In a promoter point of view, I can understand. But with Willie Edmondson, it's the perfect fight for him to get back in conversation and really switch his mindset to be like, okay, this is a fight I need to win to get back. Similar to me when, coming off a loss, I had to fight Dignan, but then again, more so Asaze. Asaze wasn't the guy that was on anyone's radar. He was, everyone knows what he's done, but it was just like he was missing. People didn't even know if he was still boxing. And it's like, I got to fight Asaze, but it's a fight that I need to win, in good fashion to catapult me back into conversation. So I feel like Dan's in that kind of position where he needs to win this fight in good fashion to kind of catapult him back into conversations and the bigger names in this division, especially domestically.
I like the way you've assessed that fight there. If anyone is confused and doesn't understand why that fight's been made, I'm going to send them that little clip there because I think that was spot on.
Yeah.
Going back to the Riyadh season card this weekend, we'll go to Josh Kelly versus Ishmael Davis. Obviously, we've already spoke about it. But when you compare the two, we look at the factors around the fight. Ishmael Davis obviously only taking this on 6 days' notice. How do you see the fight going?
Ishmael Davis, Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but I think I'm going to back Ishmael Davis, man. I like his attitude towards the sport. I like his story, the way he's come through, and the way he's made a name for himself. He's just put himself in conversation coming out of nowhere. I think he's only like 13-0, 14-0. About to box for the English title, and now he's on the big stage. He's taking on Josh Kelly. So, and I think he's a good fighter. I mean, to fight Troy Williamson in just a fight, no title fight, nothing. That's a level above the English title anyway. So we can't say he's English level. Do you know what I mean? That's Troy Williamson is a former British champion, and he's got a win over him. So he's had to, he was going to take that fight with Junaid Boston to obviously keep building his name, even though I feel like he was above that level anyway. and now he's got an opportunity to show, what kind of level that he can be at. So, I like his whole route to the game and what he's done, and he's a fighter's fighter. Like, do you know what I mean? He would actually fight anyone. When he says that, he means it, because he didn't have to take this. He could have stepped back. He didn't have to take the Janae Boston fight. He could have been like, nah, why am I fighting another prospect for no money for the English? But he understands that he's got to, earn his right to big fights, and that's what he's doing now. Listen, fight Joe Williamson in what was it, his top fight or something? That already goes without saying the type of fighter he is. So I think I want to back Ishmael Davis still.
Like that. And then we'll go to Anthony Katchi versus Josh Warrington, a fight that was made for the IBF world title, but we got the news yesterday that the IBF title won't be on the line anymore.
Yeah,
Still a chance for Warrington to become 3-time with the IBO title on the line. How do you see that one
yeah. I
going?
mean, it's a bit of a shame though, isn't it? He's got a title when he doesn't get to defend it. I don't know what that kind of does to Kakachi's mindset, where we can be asked, it's like, oh, I'm not defending my title. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a weird place for him to be in. But look, he had a great win last time
Interesting
out.
point, just to step in. So
Yeah.
this is the IBF have confirmed this as well. So Warrington can't win the title, but if Kakachi loses, he can still lose the title, and I'm guessing the belt becomes vacant.
Oh, that's mad. So that's like one of the ones when a fighter misses weight.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
weird one.
so he is kind of defending him, really.
He's defending it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't
But
necessarily count as a
Josh
defense.
can't win it. Warrington can't
Yeah,
win it.
yeah. Warrington can't win the title.
Fair enough. But he
What
can
does
still
that?
lose it.
What would you
Fair
say
enough.
that
That's
does for the
mad.
fighter's mindset? You know, for
I don't
Kakachi's
know.
mindset.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one. It's a weird one, because I think just before I got on with you, I read something saying they knew like a month before, so they've had time to digest it. So I guess they've had to get over it and do what they're doing. But I think for Kakachi, where you just said he can still lose it, that's obviously going to give him a bit more of a reason to fight harder. Josh Warrington, I mean, in his case, is like, okay, I had a chance to become 3-time world champion, and now even if I win this fight, I'm not. But I guess it's still a fight you neither want to lose. So look, let's just hope that we get the best out of them. Warrington hasn't really looked, the best. He hasn't looked like the Warrington of old that we saw him like running through fighters and doing things. I'm not sure if he won his last fight. Did he win his last fight? Was it a good win? No, he lost to Lee Wood.
Yeah, Lee Wood. Yeah,
Lost to Lee Wood. Yeah, and he was winning that fight, in my opinion. And then he just got clipped. I mean, that's Lee Wood for you, isn't it? It's the same thing with Conlon and stuff. So yeah, he just hasn't looked the same to me. And Kakachi just had a great win the other day with Joe Cordina. That was a solid win. So his confidence is going to be sky high. He's going to be, that extra percentage of performance is going to come out of him. He's going to be able to perform that a little better, because he feels like he is the man. It's going to be confidence being all over him, and he carries power as well, as we can see. And Josh Warren's a dog, man. He's going to go in there and let his hands go. But we have seen he can be hurt. We've seen him hurt a few times now. So I think he's got to be careful of what's coming back, because Kakachi's shown that he's got real power. So I like Josh Warrington as a fighter, and I love his career and stuff. But I mean, just put my boxing hat on, I'm gonna have to go with Katchi, because his story is a bit similar, not similar, but like with Ishmael, he's had to come through and fight his way there, and pull outs and injuries, and he finally got his chance and he took it. Josh Warrington's tasted that high, the being at the top, being world champion, selling out arenas. It's just how much hunger does he really have left? Do you know what I mean? And I think Katchi might be hungry. I'm gonna go with Katchi.
do you feel Kakachi can stop him, or do you feel it's a points job?
I think he can stop him, but I don't know if he will. Josh Warrington's a tough guy, man. I'm not just gonna go out there and say he gets stopped. That ain't fair. I know we've seen him get stopped before, but he's a tough man, and he's gonna go whatever he does. He's gonna go on his shield. We're gonna see. He's gonna put up his best efforts. However good his best efforts are, if it's good enough, he wins. If it's not, then he doesn't win. But yeah, I don't think it's fair to just say he gets stopped. So I'm just gonna go catch you win. I don't know how.
Fair enough. And then obviously the fight that you've been asked about, you're probably the most questioned man on the planet bar the two fighters when we come
Yeah,
to this fight. Tyler Denny versus Hamza Sheeraz. I know you've broken this down many times, but one final time, I guess you could say, how do you see that fight going before they get in the ring?
I think it's gonna be similar to the I'm a Williams fight, probably with less of a threat power wise. Obviously, Tyler Denny, he's strong physically, and obviously he's a grown man, so he's going to hit hard enough. But he doesn't have that concussive power, like fight changing power.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I don't think he's going to be given Hamza problems like Ammo did. But in that same kind of way, where Ammo was rushing in and getting caught in between, I can see that happening to Tyler Denny also. So I want to go Hamza. Probably, then again, Tyler Denny ain't been stopped before neither, but I said it's going to go the same way as the Ammo fight, innit? So probably Hamza late stoppage.
What problems do you see Tyler Denny being able to cause for Hamza Sheeraz? Like, what ways can you make the fight difficult for him?
Maybe just his awkwardness, his relentlessness. He comes in a lot and he throws wild shots, and we can see he's obviously quite physical in his past few fights. So he might just try and be physical with him. But Hamza's very disciplined in the ring, man. He's very disciplined in the ring. He ain't gonna box out of character just because you're doing a madness. He would just tuck up, sit tight. He's got a very good guard. He sits in his shell. His hands cover his head and his elbows cover his body. So he's got a very small target to hit, even though he's tall. But yeah, he would just sit in that shell and wait till the storm blows over with Tyler Denny and just start punching in between, I think.
And then moving on to the main event, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois. The buzz has started to kick in now that it's fight week. We've seen the first face-offs yesterday. We've got the grand arrivals today. Open workout tomorrow. We've even got 3 professional fights on after the open workout tomorrow night as well, apparently.
Yeah.
Being
I saw
treated
that.
properly this week. But when we sit down and we look at that main event, opinions are changing all the time from a lot of people. How do you see it going?
I think it was a good fight, man. I think Daniel's troubles will come early. It will come early. If Joshua can, ride that storm, then he can probably get Daniel out of there middle to late rounds. Daniel's not someone that just goes over easy anyway, so I don't think we're just going to see him get flatlined like that. I think if it's going to be a stoppage, it'll be a late stoppage. But Daniel's got crazy power early, and that catches you by surprise. That can take you out. But I think if Joshua can, take a couple shots on the glove, not get too much warm up to his power and stuff, then he'll be alright as it goes down the stretch. But AJ is very sharp with his shots. He's very sharp. He throws a sharp right hand, throws a sharp jab. As you saw in his last 2 fights, he's very quick with his shots. He's coming up more patient now, thinking about his work. Whereas I think Daniel's going to rush in from early and try and steamroll AJ. So AJ's got to kind of ride that storm for the first few rounds and then kind of pick up the pace and just put those sharp shots on him, and I think he can probably get Dan out of there. But look, I've said this to everyone. I trained with Dan, and we trained for probably 3 years or something, 3-4 years down the gym. I've seen that guy knock out a lot of people in sparring. Big 20-ounce gloves, like clean out. Got to call the ambulance type of knockout. So he carries raw power, man. Real power, and it's dangerous, especially early. But yeah, now I've been an AJ fan since he came in the game, and I don't think I want to see AJ lose again, to be honest. So I'm going to go AJ.
What do you feel is the biggest threat to the two? Obviously, we know, Daniel, I feel like I know what your answers are going to be. But when you look at the skill sets and the attributes that both fighters have, what do you reckon each fighter's biggest threat is to the other person?
I think that Daniel recently has just been, in his last 2 fights, he's just been coming at you and steamrolling each other, his opponents and stuff, and just putting shots on them. But Daniel's got good feet. Daniel's got good feet early in his career when he was boxing and stuff. He has good balance. He has good feet, and he's light on his feet. He's not heavy on his feet. AJ, on the other hand, he's tried to be a bit fleet-footed, maybe too fleet-footed, and it took away, some of his attributes. But now he's more punch precision. Like, he's precise with his punches. Like, he's not wasting any punches, just trying to get you out of there. He's very accurate and he's very sharp. So I'm going to say AJ for his accuracy and his sharpness, and he carries power, of course. Daniel has good feet. He doesn't really use them no more. I haven't seen him use his feet properly in his last few fights, but he's got crazy power and a good jab. But AJ's defense is better than Daniel's as well. Daniel don't really move his head or parry shots as much. He just kind of takes the shots. Like, it's quite easy to hit Daniel with a jab. Whereas AJ might just step out. AJ's probably a little bit better. He uses his feet more now than Daniel does. But Daniel, if you look at him early, especially like on the Gorman fight and all these fights, he's got smart feet. But yeah, I just ain't seen him use it recently. So Daniel power, AJ, accuracy and sharpness are their strengths.
Well, Denzel, I like the way you've broken down the fights there. I can see why you've been given the Punisher gig many times now. Do the job well.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today. It's always good to catch up, and hopefully we see some big fight news for yourself soon. Cheers.
No, thank you, man. Cheers.